I think it's already 7:05, so I think we should start now because today we are going to wrap up by 8 because Ghuni has to go somewhere. So let's just start, and meanwhile, people can join.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree.
Am I audible
Yeah.
clearly?
Yes.
Yeah. You're audible and loud. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, good evening, everyone. Very warm welcome to all of you joining us today. And this is Yagi Seni, your host today, and one of the founders, along with Ghurni of Socioscopia. So, it's wonderful to have you all here with us today for another session, Socioscopia's Academic Discussion Series 2026. We are so glad that you could make it, and we hope that today's session is as insightful and thought provoking as for you as it is for us. So, for those of you who are new here, let me take a moment to introduce Socioscopia to all of you. So, Socioscopia is a global online platform dedicated to promoting academic growth, inclusivity, and awareness in the fields of social sciences and humanities. Our mission is to democratize access to academic opportunities and create spaces where scholars, students, practitioners can connect, learn, and grow together. We share opportunities like call for papers, workshops, internships, publications, etc., etc. And we regularly host academic discussion sessions like this one, and as well as international conferences to support early career researchers and students, especially from the global south. Do make sure to follow us on LinkedIn and YouTube to stay updated on the latest opportunities in these fields. And also, here's some exciting news that we are soon launching our website. So stay tuned for that as well. So a few quick announcements before we begin. So we if you're interested in presenting your research or work with us, we would love to have you. So we will be posting the speaker link, speaker interest form link soon in the chat box. And if you are interested, do fill it up and we will reach out to you. And we will also be sharing the participation certificate form in the chat box. So make sure you fill it up to receive your certificate. Now, the format for today, after the presentation, we will open the floor for questions and discussions. And you're welcome to post your queries or comments or questions in the chat box at any time during the talk, or you can raise them directly after the session, after the presentation during the discussion. So now let's move on to the heart of today's discussion. Today's talk is titled, Can the Subaltern Women Speak? Rethinking Voice and Representation. A question that cuts right to the core of how we think about power, identity, and whose voices get heard in the world. The question of whether subaltern women can truly speak remains a central concern in contemporary social and political thought. This presentation explores how the voices of marginalized women are represented in academia, policy, media, and social movements. Drawing on post-structuralist perspectives of power, discourse, and representation, it examines the ways in which dominant institutions shape, mediate, or silence subaltern voices. At the same time, it highlights the agency of subaltern women in resisting marginalization, negotiating power relations, and creating alternative spaces for expression. By rethinking voice and representation, the presentation contributes to broader debates on gender, identity, democracy, and social justice, while questioning the possibilities and limits of speaking from the margins. Now, to guide us through this presentation, we have a wonderful speaker today with us. It is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Himashree Patowary, who is an assistant professor and head of the Department of Political Science at Krishna Guru Adhyatmik Vidyalaya. Dr. Patowary brings a sharp and nuanced perspective to questions of gender, representation, and political theory, and we are truly honored to have her with us today. Dr. Patowary, a very warm welcome to you. We are so glad to have you here with us today. The floor is all yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. First of all, I would like to thank everyone which are associated with Socioscopia, especially Ghurni Bhattacharya. I have contacted her first when I came to know about Socioscopia. In last year also, I think in 2024 or 25, I came to know about Socioscopia. At that time also, I was selected for like share my views and I mean my thoughts and my ideas with you people. That time I couldn't make it, and that is why this year I contacted myself to her, and then she emailed me, and then I have just got the like opportunity to share my ideas, my viewpoints. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity. So today's topic, I mean, can the subaltern women speak? Rethinking voice and representation. Good evening, everyone. To all the audiences, I welcome you all here. So I would like to, begin with a simple yet unsettling question. First of all, whose voice are heard and whose voices remain unheard, which is the most important thing. to begin with, when we will be studying or when we will be speaking regarding women, this is not so easy. This is not so easy to speak it up regarding women's, like, I mean, their position, their status, the society, the patriarchal mindset, the patriarchal norms, the socio-cultural barriers, and everything which are associated with women. Everybody knows it. Whoever is, I mean, studying regarding women, their status and position and everything. Everybody know about these issues which are very much related to women and women's studies. So whose voices are heard and whose voices remain unheard? This is the most important and unsettling question, and I would like to begin with that sentence only, that questions only. Most importantly, when marginalized women speak, do we truly hear them? Number one. Do we hear interpretations of their voices filtered through institutions, academics, policymakers, activists, and the media? These are the two important questions. Very recently, I would like to share one, example with you. I would like to give one example regarding that because I belong to Assam. It's a part of Northeast India. So ICSSR had funded one project which I was doing in Meghalaya. At that time, I was working in University of Science and Technology, Meghalaya. So that time I got to that project. So the project title I took was Gender Mainstreaming and Governance. Gender mainstreaming and the role of women in governance in Meghalaya, especially. And I think everybody knows about this thing that Meghalaya is a matrilineal society. I'm not saying that is a matriarchal society. That is a matrilineal totally. So when I went there with my field investigators and all, as I'm not belong to, Meghalaya, so I took the field investigators from Meghalaya only. So I visited those places, the study areas, which is, West Khasi Hills, East Khasi Hills and West Garo Hills. I went there. So what is this peculiar thing I got there? I came to know that they are having the blend of both democratic institutions, like the modern democratic institutions and the traditional institutions, like Darbar Shnong and all, which is a traditional political institution they are exercising. So when I go there, I try to, meet all the women associated with it. But then I came to know all the decision makers, all the people who are to take all the decisions regarding the policies and all implementation of the government policies, or how to take the policies, how to implement all the policies. I couldn't find any women, only one or two women I found there. So when I asked my field investigators, as they belong to, from Meghalaya, from East Khasi Hills, both are, one is Khasi and one is Garo. So I asked them, what is happening now? It's a matrilineal society. There are lots of narratives are coming out. Okay, women have their voices have got, political importance, or they are having they are having the representations in the government and all. So that time I found women, though they are having the matrilineal society, but they are not having that kind of voice. This is I'm speaking it from the political perspective. Now there are lots of socio-cultural other perspectives are also there. So whatever the voices which needed to be heard in terms of Meghalaya or in terms of other tribal women of Northeast India, not only in the Northeast India, I would like to say in terms of India, Indian perspective also. Recently, I visited the Jharkhand and other places which are tribal oriented or tribal dominated areas, where I found that most of the tribal women, how they are living, how they are expressing their lived experiences. So there are lots of narratives are also there. If I speak it from the, Michel Foucault's view, point of view, when I'm trying to link the knowledge and power and the lived experiences of these tribal women or subaltern women, then I have to say one thing. I realized one thing. What is already narratives are already available through. I mean, I can have there are lots of availability of, I mean, the policies and the other things like, I mean, not only the policies, researches are also being done. Researches are also going on in lots of universities, lots of modern advanced technologies we are having, and they are doing the, I mean, researches, and all policymakers are making the policies. But what about the lived experiences? Are we listening to them, what they are having, what they are having, the problems, what are the challenges they are having in their real life? Narratives, because those narratives are structured by the powers only. Knowledges are being created. There are lots of institutions are also there, lots of, I mean, media houses are also there, lots of, I mean, other institutions, peer groups are also there, but all those groups, all those sections, they have divided the knowledge system, even the dominating and the subaltern. According to Michel Foucault also, the entire society, the subaltern, this concept has also been socially structured, socially, I mean, administered. So their voices are not being heard by any people because narrative had been created already. The grand narratives had already been created by the dominant groups. That knowledge has been created by the dominant groups. What they are saying, that is the truth according to them. But the voices of the subaltern groups, because this entire, I mean, the entire topic which I have framed is totally based on, and I have got the inspiration from like Spivak's, I mean, can subalterns speak? From that idea, I have taken that, okay, subaltern, if subaltern cannot speak, then what about the subaltern women? Subaltern means the marginalized people, those groups, those sects of people, those sects of, I mean, people who is being recognized as women. The Dalits women, the tribal women, the minority women, and many more, lots of, I mean, definitions of subaltern is there. So these questions lie at the heart of today's discussion, that can the subaltern women speak, rethinking voice and representation? So this is the base of not, not only the Northeast India from the Indian, but I mean raised the the social science scholars, which are, I mean, studying, especially the, I mean, studies or feminist studies, especially. Secondly, the term subaltern, as I have already spoken. The term subaltern generally refers to those groups who occupy marginalized position within social, political, economic, and cultural hierarchies. As I have already told, I have already discussed about that. But when we speak of subaltern women, then we have to mention one thing, that we have to give importance on that. The layers of marginalization become more complex. We have to see the layers of marginalization when we speak about the marginalized women. If you see the definition of women in any kind of, I mean, dictionaries, the world dictionaries, then you'll come to know, I mean, how the women, I mean, how they are trying to define women. And from that point only, seeing the like dictionaries and all the grand narratives given by Aristotle, as I belong to political science, and then I can understand one thing, that how the grand narratives have been given by Plato or Aristotle, even J.S. Mill also. So if we see the grand narrative, the social contract theory, maybe the theory of justice, the theory of rights, the theory of natural rights, even Marxism also, the first half of Marxism, the first half of the life of Karl Marx also. So through those grand narratives, we can define women's role, women's position, how the grand narratives or how those, political, socio-political and economic institutions of that period, they had created that knowledge system, that how women can be defamed, how the role of women can be diminished. So that kind of things we can understand from that grand narrative which are being, which were being given by, no doubt, the great philosophers of the world, the great philosophers of Greek, like Aristotle, Plato, who is also regarded the father of political science, Aristotle and other Stoic philosophers also. So from those narratives also we can understand how they portrayed women. But when the post-structuralist viewpoint came, when post-structuralism came, now we are to question about the great grand narratives of the past. So that is how this kind of thing, and I think for the first time, Gramsci had been provided the fuller, I think from his writing only we came to know about the subaltern groups. He was trying to mean the subaltern groups, he was trying to define all those people, all those groups which are socially and politically defamed or marginalized, to mean all those, or to define all those groups he was trying to give, or he was trying to terminate the term, that term, subaltern. So these are the questions related to women and the subaltern viewpoint regarding women's position, status, their socio-political status or their representation, and how we can give them voice for their, lived experiences and all. When Spivak, conceptualized, can the subaltern speak? Through that, essay, she was trying to challenge us, or to think critically about representation also. She argues that the problem is not simply that subaltern people have to have no voice. Rather, the structures to which knowledge is produced often prevent those voices from being recognized or heard. That is the important thing. What are the power structures we are having, which are totally based on the grand narratives? The patriarchs who had given those kind of theories, socio-political and economic theories, that narratives, in that narrative, women's voices were not there. How the right should be given to women, how to give the justice to the women, how the justice should be given to the tribal women, to the subaltern women. This kind of narratives were not there. And what they have spoken, or what they spoke, what they wrote, all those things has got the shape of knowledge, and now people are taking the same knowledge and they are continuing with that. So these are the things happening. So can subaltern women speak? That's the question now. Yes, they speak. But the thing is, who will hear them? How they will hear them? How their voices are interpreted, that is the most important thing. Now, lots of scholars are also coming out, lots of decision makers, they are making the laws, they are making the policies. The most important thing is, do they articulate all those voices properly? I have already given the Meghalayan case, the case from the Meghalaya governance and their mainstreaming related to women, their status and position in Assam, no doubt in other parts of the Northeast India or other parts of India, even. Do their voice get, articulated properly? The media houses, the policymakers, the researchers, through their writings, through their thesis, through their dissertations, can they articulate the real voice, the lived experiences of the women? So this is a very difficult question because those narratives are being already created. Those knowledges had already been dominated by all those dominant groups. So that is how women, their voice has been, suppressed by all this knowledge system. I mean to say, the language is what we, from the post-structuralist viewpoint, we can say the knowledge system, the language, the power system, all those created by all those structures only. So these are the things. And one more important thing we have to say, today we live in that era that celebrates inclusion, inclusive development, development of all, participation, representation, and government speaks of empowerment. The universities are also, doing researches on marginalized communities. Media outlets are also highlighting their struggles and all. But yet we have to ask, who is speaking for whom? My PhD work, that was totally related to media, how they are portraying women. When I went to, collect the data, especially the, primary data, at the time I met the journalists and all, I met the victims, the rape victims, because lots of the articles were there related to, rapes, kidnapping and all. So when I met them, I tried to see their, writing, because it was a content analysis. So in content analysis, I have to measure everything. So when I tried to talk to them, asking some women-related issues or women problems, then what I found at the time, women were portrayed as victims only. What were their feelings, how they felt after being raped by people? What are the socio-cultural barriers are there? When I was trying to, ask all those questions at the time, I didn't get any kind of, reliable answers or reliable facts to which I can say that, okay, now the voices of women can be articulated. So these are the things. Who are there to hear them? Somebody is writing thesis or somebody is writing like dissertations and all. But what about the lived experience? If they are speaking, then their problems need to be solved out. What they want. Are they happy with their lifestyle? How they are having their kind of incomes and all? Are they developed one? Are they empowered? Can their voices be articulated? Are they empowered socially, politically, or economically? Are they having the economic independence? Are they having the socially, culturally independence in the society? Can they work properly in their workplaces? So these are the things. And when we talk about the subaltern women, women are the degrading, creatures on the earth. But when we talk about the subaltern women, then the multi-layers of exploitations are there. If you come to the northeastern part of India, then you'll see most of the women, they are working in the field, the paddy fields. Most of the women, they are giving shops at the like highways and all. If you go to them and meet them, they will say, okay, we are happy with the like lifestyle. The society has given this kind of work, so we have to do, and we are happy with that. But whenever you go to their houses, then you will see they're carrying the barrels of water from from the like stiff hill areas and all. The houses are like torn. So these are the things are happening. And northeastern part, when you, uh, when you speak about the tribal women especially, then you will see how they're having the hardships to live a dignified life. If you see the Dalit women, do they voice out their problems? Do they voice out their issues and challenges what they're having? In media, we can see, okay, that these people, because they are like any kind of media houses, they are publishing lots of articles on the women, the subaltern women, their issues and problems. But no one is there, who can voice out the real lived experiences of those people, of this creature. which is called the subaltern women. So often subaltern women enter public discourses, as I have already told, I have already discussed. So subaltern women, enter public discourses or public debates, especially through the language and categories created by others. This is one of the most important issues. Most of the social scientists or social science scholars, academicians, they write because personal is political now, according to the feminist interpretations, second wave feminism. According to it, the personal is political, and that is how the women issues now get the thought, political. But the thing is that public discourse, yes, their issues and problems are coming out through the debates and discourses we are making now, because now I'm also talking about the issues and challenges of the subaltern women. But how? This is the important thing. Their experiences, as I have already shared my experiences, certain instances I had already shared with you people. So their experiences are translated and interpreted and sometimes simplified to fit existing narratives. That is also important thing. We are coming out with lots of, our insights, our viewpoints, our opinions related to those subaltern women. Lots of scholars are doing researches and all. They are translating, they are trying to translate it, their experiences, their plights, their hardships. But I think not from the subaltern women's perspective. They're giving their interpretations, their translations, their viewpoints, their opinion, just to fit into the already available narratives. On that basis only, they are trying to give the interpretations and translation of their hardships and problems. So that is one of the most important issue, I think. And this is where I think the insights of post-structuralist thinkers become most important to study them. Because according to them, if you see Derrida or if you see, Michel Foucault and lots of, Spivak is also there. Lots of other, so post-structuralist thinkers are also there. So according to them, power is not only exercised through laws or law-related institutions, courts or any other, political institutions. That is a very traditional notion that law is being made by the courts or laws are being made by the legislature. And that is how they are powerful, because they are governing the governance, and that is why they are very powerful institutions. But no, according to Derrida or according to Michel Foucault, these are not originally happening in the day-to-day society or day-to-day, world. Because it also appears through, according to them, what they are saying, the power is, power appears or operates also through language, knowledge, and discourses. We are already, as a, political science, teacher, I know the meaning of power. What it means to be power, or what it means to be called powerful. But now, through language, knowledge, and discourse, through this, media also, power can be translated. People can be powerful. Because power shapes what can be said, who can speak, and what counts as legitimate knowledge. So knowledge is power. But what kind of knowledge has already been spread? what kind of knowledge has already been created and who had created it. That is the most important thing. Directly, I'm not speaking about all those patriarchs, or directly, I'm not talking about the patriarchy and all or patriarchal mindset. No. But the thing is, what knowledge had already been created, and in that knowledge system, because it has got the term of system now, it has become a system. So when the knowledge gets the shape of a structure, then in that structure, maybe the women voice has been suppressed already. Because those narratives, those power structures, those knowledge systems never question about the lifestyle of women, how they were living or how they are living, how patriarchy has impacted their life, how the patriarchal mindset has impacted their life. This kind of knowledge we cannot find, because as a teacher, being the teacher of political science also, when I studied justice, which is given by the first time, which is given by Socrates or maybe Plato, that time I never found any description of women, how women should be given, justice, how women should be. Is there having any, justice giving any kind of institutions which will be based on the women's perspective? How women should be given the rights, how people, how subaltern women. Is there any narratives related to tribal women, Dalit women, other marginalized women, or minority women? No, I cannot find. If you go to the, sociology department also, or library, if you see, what is family, then they will define the family. Okay, it's a composition of 4 or 5 members, and it will be called a family. There will be marriage, there will be religion, there will be this different kinds of characteristics will be there. But I never found anything, any related narratives related how women be given justice, how
Ma'am,
women can be empowered.
sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt you. Actually, we are running short of time, so if you could wrap up within the next 5 minutes, we are really
Okay,
sorry.
okay, sure.
Yeah.
Sure, sure. Actually, across the world, particularly in the regions such as Northeast India, marginalized women have consistently challenged. If you see Nagaland or if you see Manipur, the lots of women are also coming, and they are, voicing out their issues and problems, and they're challenging this, the great narratives and all. But the thing is, still, that kind of space, the women-friendly space, or where women can speak out, the subaltern women can speak out. This kind of spaces or this kind of environment had not been created as yet. So, the question is simply whether subaltern women speak, under what conditions can they be heard, who listens. So, if we stop, speaking at this point, then it will be very injustice to all those people or all those women. What about the representation? If we stop writing, or if we stop speaking about these issues and problems, we have already spoken about voice. Then what about the participation and representation? Who will represent their voices? Who will make the laws, or who will make the decision in connection to the women's issues and problems? So rethinking voice and representation requires us to move beyond the symbolic inclusion. It requires creating spaces where subaltern women, not merely subject of discussion, but active participants in shaping knowledge. That is, socioscopia is also the theme of socioscopia, because we have to create that kind of knowledge, and that knowledge will be created. This knowledge will create the knowledge system where we can aid certain kind of women-related things. So active participants in shaping knowledge and decision making, so that women can be the active participants in not only in politics, socially, economically, politically, and everywhere. So it demands that scholars, policymakers, activists reflect on their own, positions of privilege, and examines how representation can unintentionally silence the very people it seeks to empower. So that's the important thing. we don't only have to discuss about them, we have to have that kind of space where that knowledge can be created, where women can be given that kind of space or environment so that they can speak out or they can voice out their problems. So as we conclude, I would like to leave you with a final thought that the issue is not whether subaltern women possess a voice. They always have. They always have a voice. They always have I mean, sentences to speak, sentences to, say about their own lived experiences, how they are living, how they are having the hardships and all. But the real issue is whether society is willing to listen without appropriating, translating, or controlling that voice. That is the most important thing. Lots of socio-cultural and economic political barriers are also there. Most of the time, those barriers prevent them to speak, prevent them to voice out their own issues and challenges. So I would like to say that knowledge should be created. Women-friendly languages should be created. Women-friendly theories or isms should be provided to them with giving lots of, I mean, uh, what to say, lots of statements, lots of theories, lots of knowledge through which women themselves can empower them so that the society cannot restrict them to speak out, to voice out their own problems or own hardships, the lifestyle, everything, the plights of themselves. With that, I would like to say thank you. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Dr. Patowary, for that truly insightful presentation. So you have shown us like how while subaltern women, they continue to face systemic barriers in their everyday life, and how these barriers uh, kind of obstruct them from being heard, truly heard, actually, and still they actively resist these you know uh, these powers of structures, right? So you have actually made us question or rethink how we kind of perceive these things, and how voice or representation, what they truly mean, right? So thank you so much for that wonderful presentation. And before we open the floor for discussion, we are actually running short of time, but still, just a quick reminder that we have already posted the certificate form as well as the speaker interest form, so do fill them up. And yeah, and now let's open the floor for discussion and questions. So we would love to hear your thoughts, comments, reflections, or questions to Dr. Patowary. So you can type your questions in the chat box, or you can just unmute yourself and ask the questions. So yes, the floor is open now. Thank you.
Okay, all right. Seems like I have to break the ice as always, or maybe usually. But there are. Oh, okay. So it's basically Jagoshini writing to me. But yes, thank you so much, Dr. Patowary, for such an insightful and I would say thought-provoking as well as powerful presentation, because I think we often tend to ignore our own accountabilities when we do research, when we usually do not tend to represent the grassroots community voices, especially when it comes to women and especially when it comes to the special marginalized locations like Northeast India. There are often some misinterpretations and disregard for the locational geopolitical reasons and everything that has been surrounding there. So kudos to you for doing such a community-based research. I would like to know that what are the methods that you used? You mentioned about qualitative methods as well as things, but how do you want to encourage future researchers to take? Because sometimes I know that you are a doctoral, like you did your doctoral project there. You had some forms of assistance of field investigators and everything, but there are also young academicians who might get inspired after your work and want to go to do some field work or something. What could be the other methodologies that could be used in your sense, and how can we actually better develop or rather interpret their voices from the ground? Because yeah, I understand that it is extremely crucial to gain knowledge about the lived experiences and the lived realities and the, I would
Yeah.
say, like the spatial, nuanced cultural beliefs, norms, everything is very much disentangled in that region. But when a person doesn't have competence to get a sense, because we are always outsider, like when we do ethnography or something, because we are not from the region, but we are trying to make sense of their whole world by going into their shoes. So how do you
Yeah.
feel, what could be the suitable methodologies for more young researchers, because this is also being live streamed via YouTube and people can actually listen to your solutions and recommendations for future research? So that would be my first question. And my second question would be also to like, I would like to know more about what are the consequences that they are facing. Like as you mentioned about the lived realities, there are geopolitical tensions, conflict ongoing, especially when we're referring to Manipur. We all know what things are going on over there. And you're, especially you're from Assam, and you have a representation in Meghalaya. What made you do the research in Meghalaya? Is it the matrilineal society? You wanted to see that generally in patriarchal society, women's voices are submerged or silenced. But even in the matrilineal society, this is happening, something like that. Like, what really motivated you to do the research in Meghalaya? And what are the actual lived realities that are coming in? Like, are they facing what sort of ecological, in terms of ecological degradation, maybe? What are the social security means, like how access to resources are happening? Are they getting enough education? Are they getting enough wash and hygiene facilities? Maybe just a ground reflection so that others can also get a sense of what is happening in their overarching lives.
Yeah. Thank you
Thank you.
so much. These are the very nice questions you have asked, and thank you for the showing that concern to the Northeastern people, especially for the tribal women. Thank you so much for that. Regarding the methodology, that is a very important question, and I would like to give the answer of it, especially because methodology, which is something related to very, I mean, strictly related to the researchers. Uh, I belong to political science and other social science. Political science is a very strict in terms of maintaining the methodology and all. So, in this regard, I would like to mention that ethnographic method is a very important thing in this regard, because ethnography is a like method where, I mean, long term field work is also associated with it, because you have to go to the field, and every day you have to make that kind of connectivity and connections with all those people who are having that ground roots and all. You have to meet the people. What I was doing at the time when I was doing the that research, I was already advising my instructing or advising, I mean, the field investigators to go there, and all the things, all the to take all the narratives, what they are saying from that. That scenario only, not that I'm making any kind of, okay, I'm going to them and I'm giving tea and no. Natural setup. You can say it the participatory research approach. You have to go to them, you have to meet them in that natural setting only, and you have to participate. I'm not talking about the non-participant observation. You have to go there and you have to be, you have to play the role as a participant observer. You have to go them, meet them, have tea with them, and just live the life how they are living their lives. So I would say ethnographic research design, ethnographic that research methodology we have to take in terms of when we are doing the researches on the tribal areas and in any other Dalit women perspective. Then the qualitative method, I mean, in that intervention, the structured interviews, focus group discussions, then oral histories also, and live narratives and case studies we can do in this regard. Because I have done the case studies also and the focus discussion, focus group discussion. Number two, the number three I had already mentioned, that is, participatory research, approach. And I would like to suggest here, okay, we should do the, participant observation. We should participate with them, and which should be, long term. It should not be, short lived field studies and all. So from methodology perspective, yeah, we can do the ethnographic method, because the ethnographic method is something which is related to the culture and society. When the studies will be related to the culture and society or cultural folk system and all, then knowledge system, then I think we should do the ethnographic method, or we should have the ethnographic approach and all. Number one, then your question was something related to the Northeast India only. Yeah, I mentioned about Manipur. There's a lots of issues and contradictions and controversies are also going on in terms of women who are living in Northeast, especially that Special Force Acts was also there. One of my friends, she was, doing the rape victims of Northeast India. So when she was to, tell all those things, Himashree, I'm going to work on research, a project which will be totally based on the rape victims of Northeast India. Because in is also there. Then extremist problems is also there, and has given so many. This is the, thing. This is tribal women, the mainstream women of Northeast India, or they get that kind of exploitation, sexual harassment, and all. So that time she told me, these things are happening in Northeast India. She is also from Northeast India, but not from that tribal area. So what I should do? Then I told, this is not so easy to do about the rape victims of Northeast India, especially Manipur, Nagaland, Meghalaya. This is not so easy to do, because you'll not be getting any, rape victims. Nobody will come to you and will say, okay, I'm a rape victim. So not only that, the sexual harassment and all, socially also. Meghalaya, it's a matrilineal society. And that is why I got attracted. I got attracted to do that, how women are living in a matrilineal society. I was thinking, okay, it's a matrilineal society, but and women will be having that kind of higher status and position. But when I go to the real field, then I came to know they're educationally not empowered. They're politically not empowered. If you see the political history of Meghalaya, till now, I think 2 or 3 women representatives are there in their legislative assembly and in the central. P.A. Sangma's daughter is there, or 1 or 2 members are there in their present, ministry. So these are the things happening. So it's a matrilineal society, but they are not having that kind of political structure, socio-political or economic structure, where women will be having the higher position and all. Matrilineality means their line will become for the mother. But importance is given to the maternal uncle only. This is the peculiar thing about Meghalaya or any kind of matrilineal, tribal society in Northeast India, Nagaland. So that line will come from her mother, and all the link-ups will be to all the higher decision will be taken by the maternal uncles only. So this kind of things are happening. So in the field, if you go, then you'll not feel women are, okay, they are very empowered, they are politically empowered, they are educationally empowered, they are culturally empowered. No. So that's how I got attracted to, research on certain kind of issues. And what I found that was very terrible in terms of women, in terms of governance, in terms of the policies, gender mainstreaming and all. In Northeast India, I'm not talking about Northeast India. If you go to the other parts, I mean, tribal dominated areas, or the, Dalit people, Dalit dominated areas, then there we will see. I'm not talking about the narratives, what I have found on secondary sources. No, I, I went there. I know how they are living, what are the expenses, how they are working, how they are getting paid and everything. So these are the realities. But those realities should be translated through the policies, in the policies or in the writings or in articles or thesis or any kind of dissertations. But what we do when we write all those things, we just follow the narrative. What other, because Google is already flooded with lots of secondary sources, flooded with lots of works and dissertations. But what we do when we write about the plights, hardships of all those women, we just follow the writings of all those, like review of literature we do. So these are the things happening. Lots of acts are also going on. So when acts will be there, when lots of armed forces will be there, when lots of insurgency problems will be there, then automatically in that scenario, women will be exploited most. So when they will speak, when what they will say, what to say, how to say, to whom they will say. The most important thing is that they say, they speak up. If you go, because most of the women I spoke, so I asked them, how can you bring water from those stiff hills and all? Ma'am, we have to live like that only. They're not having that modern. If you go, if Nagaland or Manipur, especially Meghalaya, these are very hilly places. You cannot find any kind of plain areas and all. So in that areas, only one or two, one hill, all the areas will be covered with different kinds of hill, like stiff hills and all, and they are living like that only. The population structure is very, it's not so, dense and all. So these are the things happening socially, politically, culturally, they are backward. I'm not saying a government is not doing anything. Yes, government is having lots of policies and all, but how they are interpreted, that is important thing. If we are having the policies, then why women are not getting representations in the decision making then? If women are not having representations, if they are not becoming the decision makers, then how can we say they are empowered? That kind of awareness is not there. That if women are not aware, they are not aware because they cannot come out of the houses. So this kind of things are also there. The gender mainstreaming, when I was trying to link it up with, women issues and all, because gender mainstreaming is one of the crucial points in terms of women empowerment, the policy making, policy interpretation. So how women are, getting those policies, having the gender mainstreaming thing. If male and female, if these two concepts are not well defined in the budgets and all, in policies, then how can we think the women are getting empowerment? They're having the decision-making capacity. So these are the things. And most of the people, they are having the narrative that, okay, Northeast India, so Northeast Indian society is very liberal in terms of giving independence or giving freedom to women. But no, they're not having that kind of independence or freedom. So this is the case. From Dalit people, if I talk about, or if I speak of like Dalit people, then how many women are there? How many women are there from Dalit society? How many tribal women are there? How many representatives or decision makers are there from Dalit society or from the tribal society? How many, powerful educationists or powerful voice are there from Northeast India, from the Dalit, from the Dalits and other minority? So these are the things. Then who will voice out? These are the, I'm not talking about from the narratives and all. This is a society because we are making this a socioscopia socioscopia is a like society where we can have that kind of discussions, and through discussions and knowledge can be created. So matrilineality, though it talks about female, though it signifies, I would say symbolic signify, I mean recognition that recognized as inferior or other. That's not true. Matrilineality from the ground point of view, from the ground, it doesn't look like that. It only signifies the symbolic inclusivity. That symbolic participation or symbolic representation. So these are the things happening. So qualitative method, especially we have to do, not quantitative. Quantitative is so easy, that is so easy, but qualitative method we have to, I mean, employ whenever we will be doing any researches on tribals or any researches on subaltern women, especially women. The women percentage, how many women are giving votes in the, I mean, quantitative measurement, or okay, 70% women are giving vote in Northeast India. But if you go to the field, then we'll not find that. That qualitative aspect we have to see. If they're giving vote, taking whose advice? If they are participating in panchayat, then who is working? She or her husband? Is she taking her own decision in political field? So lots of these kind of things are qualitative things are also coming out in terms of, I mean, women's voice, women's representation, women's participation in socio-political and economic life. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am, for explaining the ground realities, and thank you for addressing the question. Over to you, Jagosheni, and we have to go to the vote of thanks, unfortunately, because I have to go. But yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dr. Patowary. It was a very insightful talk, as well as the way you explained the answers as well. So thank you so much. And on that note, I think it's time for us to bring this wonderful session to a close. Again, a huge heartfelt thank you to Dr. Himashree Patowary for sharing her research and insights with us today. It has been truly a stimulating and enriching conversation, and we sincerely apologize for ending the short of time. So it's okay. Thank you each and every one of our audience members for being there and for your engagement and your enthusiasm, especially Gurni. So yeah, thank you for the questions, and a very special thank you to the incredible Socioscopia team who worked tirelessly behind the scenes to make these events happen, seamlessly. And of course, a big thank you to Gurni once again, the other captain of ship, for her vision and support throughout the journey. And we hope to see you all again very soon in our upcoming sessions. And until then, take care and good night to everyone. Thank you
Thank
so
Thanks
you
much.
so
to
much.
you, Jagosheni, for hosting, and thanks to Dr. Patwari again for such an insightful session, and to all the participants for joining in. Stay tuned with us and follow our pages for more updates. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you. Guru, please give me some photographs, okay? For, I mean, from
Yes,
today's session.
yes, of
Okay.
course.
Thank you
Sure.
so
Sure.
much. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yeah.
Bye.
Good night.